It's great to be part of this, our first podcast. I came to Fordham from a different university back in around 2006. And one of the first things that I did, because, New York City was a new city for me. So I started learning about, bilingual education in the city, in the public schools. I knew that the state had a professional association of teachers, bilingual teachers. New York State Association for Bilingual Education is a powerhouse, right? We lead the nation in terms of advocacy for bilingual educators as well as bilingual and multilingual children.
Yeah.
And so, and they have a very rich history of being active in the field of bilingual education, leaders in terms of policy making, right? And they, for many decades, they've had this very important journal. However, at the time that I came into the picture, that journal had not been active for several years. Again, it just gave me the idea. I was inspired to say, I'm going to propose that we create a new journal that will represent New York State Association for Bilingual Education, NYSABE, teachers organization. And they approved the proposal. They, meaning the executive board of the organization, as well as its executive director, who is still very active, Nancy Villarreal. So all the investigation gave me the impetus to really design and create this new journal. When I was a bilingual teacher in Massachusetts, a group of researchers from the University of Massachusetts at Amherst, came to my classroom and just said, we have this project. We would like to help you as a teacher develop skills and strategies on how best to support the writing skills of your students. So my first experience with actual research was when those researchers used my students and myself in their study. Mm-hmm. And so I remember that when I was at the Graduate School of Education at Harvard, and I said, you know what, that experience was really transformative in my life as a teacher, mm-hmm. because I realized the importance of research. Mm-hmm. Even as a teacher, I can do research in my own classroom. Yeah. And I wanted to know more about not just the research project, but the publication process. So I thought, I applied, and they accepted me as part of the editorial board of Harvard, and I served there for 2 years. So I had some experience with, having done research, and now I learned this process of publication, the editorial process, anything from receiving a manuscript and giving that and serving as a reviewer, to working all the different steps all the way to final publication. So when I came to New York and decided I'm going to create this journal, the first obstacle for me was, do I know enough? We might have skills and knowledge, but perhaps we don't know that we have it, or that what we have, we can use to begin something important. And so to me, that was the first obstacle. I overcome it just by jumping into the middle of the pool, if you will, and really say, you know what, this is important for the field of bilingual education, and I'll start. So the process of the journal design and the creation started about 2 or 3 years before 2010, which was when we published the first volume. Who do I invite to join me in this journey? And I had the fortune of having a colleague from a different division at Fordham to serve as the first book editor, and that was Dr. Giselle Esquivel. And the two of us, unfortunately, she passed a few years ago. However, I remember going to Fordham and in classrooms, the two of us meeting and just enjoying the process of sharing information, of creating, of dialoguing, and she was a very creative professional as well. So in any case, and then the third person that joined us at the time was a copy editor. The first volume, as I said, was published in print, right?
Yeah.
And at the time, it was, our first volume. So we included some additional parts to it just because the executive director wanted to have, right, a voice in there, as well as the president of the organization. As we went on, I realized that to only have a journal in print will limit our exposure as well as our ability to disseminate knowledge, right? We're reaching not just universities, not just school of education, but also teachers and parents and community organizers committed to issues of multilingualism. And for that, of course, we needed to be open access. And so again, I investigated, I learned the process, and fortunate enough, we had an opportunity to collaborate with Fordham libraries.
Yeah.
Up to that point, basically, I was doing most of the work with a copy editor as well as the book reviewer, which at the time then changed with Dr. Esquivel passing. And then after that, Dr. Patricia Velasco became the book editor. So it was basically us three and wonderful GAs, doctoral students such as yourself. And I invited colleagues, esteemed colleagues with a strong commitment to language education, multilingualism, issues of advocacy, to become editors, associate editors. And early on, in addition to Dr. Velasco, Dr. Nancy Dubetz became the first editor of the practice section of the journal. We continue to grow, and now we have an associate editor for each of the sections of the journal. We have Dr. Juliette Luther being the associate editor for research, Dr. Cecilia Espinosa being the associate editor for the practice section. Dr. Patricia Velasco continues to be the book editor, but now we've grown. It doesn't stop. We continue to grow. We continue to think of ways on how to expand and really continue to be relevant to the field. In the editorial, I write, as the editor of JMER, I understand this function is very serious, is a very serious responsibility. In my view, the dissemination of knowledge for the purpose of transforming and improving multilingual education across New York State is an issue that has three vital dimensions. The first one is the mission of JMER. It has to be a mission that includes serving as a vehicle that responds to the changes and growth in knowledge in a variety of national language education concerns that have local and regional relevance. I was still thinking of, just small scale, if you will, at the, maybe New York City, New York State. And the mission has expanded. Our future, right? Already in the past 10 years, in the initial 10 years of the journal, we have moved from state and regional relevance to become, national relevance, and now international relevance as well. Yeah. So I envision that our future will continue to be that, but at the level of international audiences, we will continue to grow there. About the second dimension, JMER recognizes the crucial matter of whose voice is given authority to speak and write about teaching and learning in the field of multilingualism. Yeah. Our pages will reflect an inclusive voice, giving credence to quality and rigorous explorations done by expert academicians and expert practitioners who are invested in the education of multilingual students. And so again, that was my vision at the time, and we've been true to that, right? Most of the articles that we have published have been from academicians, faculty from a variety of regions and universities, but also some unexpected, and then also from practitioners who have developed partnerships with academics, as well as practitioners who have conducted, for example, teacher research. But to my surprise and delight, voices have also, some unexpected voices have also been included here or added to the mix. And those are community education workers, right? People from community organizations that the work that they're doing is very relevant to the families and the schools that are struggling for the first time to better serve new populations of students coming from a variety of regions of the world. And then the third dimension, if we have time, is passion. It's sort of like the engine that propels energy, and also to continue to work to create, not to be conformed with what we have when what we have is nice and good, but to keep pushing ourselves to do better and to explore different ways and to continue to create different ways of reaching others to disseminate knowledge. So that passion is what I think give you and me an opportunity today to talk about these issues, right?